What happens when she realizes you've lost interest? It's not what you might think. It's the quiet moment that turns her certainty into fear. The same silence she once ignored now echoes louder than her own thoughts. You've become the mystery she can't read, the storm she never saw coming. In that stillness, everything reverses: control, curiosity, power. Because when a man stops chasing, he becomes the mirror that exposes her illusion. If you've ever felt that shift, that moment when silence changes everything, drop your thoughts below and start this journey now. Subscribe to Stoic Silence and stay until the end, because the next truth will hit harder than this one. 1. The initial shock of losing control. She never expects the silence to hurt this much. For so long, she's lived in the comfort of your consistency, believing that no matter what happened, you'd reach out, explain, and keep showing up. Certainty gave her power. It gave her a sense of control. But certainty is fragile, and when you stop feeding it, it shatters. At first, she tells herself nothing's changed, but the energy is gone, the attention is gone, and that quiet absence starts to feel louder than any argument. It's not just your silence she feels, it's the weight of her own realization that the dynamic has shifted. What once made her feel desired now exposes her dependency. Her mind races. What changed? Did she say too much? Pull too far? Miss the signs? Those questions aren't about you. They're about her losing the reflection of herself she once saw in your validation. And in that confusion, the balance of power begins to tilt. This is where you must hold your ground. Don't rush to break the silence. Let her sit with the unease, because in that uncomfortable stillness, she begins to understand the truth, that peace belongs to the man who no longer needs to explain his worth. And that realization is only the beginning of what's coming next. 2. Her need to reclaim validation. Validation has always been her silent currency. It's what reassures her that she's still desired, still seen, still in control. When you withdraw that energy, it's like cutting off her air supply. She starts to feel the emptiness, not because she misses you, but because she misses how she felt when you were giving her attention. That feeling was her anchor. And when you pull it away, she begins to drift into uncertainty. At first, she'll reach for comfort. A simple text, a memory disguised as small talk. "Hey, how have you been? I saw something that reminded me of you." Don't confuse it for affection. It's not love, it's instinct. She's testing the waters, looking for proof that she still matters, that she still has a place in your emotional world. But here's where most men collapse. They mistake her curiosity for care and respond too soon, trying to rebuild what silence was meant to dismantle. Hold your position. Stay calm. Stay detached. Detachment is not coldness, it's self-command. The moment you stop feeding her with reassurance, you interrupt her pattern of control. Now, she must face the discomfort she's been avoiding, the mirror of her own dependence. And in that silence, a new realization begins to surface. The man she thought she understood has changed. The one she once took for granted has become unpredictable, unchained. That's when curiosity turns into confusion, and confusion into attraction, because nothing haunts the mind more than a man who no longer needs to be understood. 3. The curiosity that drives her to reevaluate. Curiosity always begins where silence takes root. When your voice disappears, her mind doesn't rest. It starts to wander, replaying every word you ever said, every pause, every look that once felt certain. She's searching for the exact moment she lost your attention, as if finding it could restore her sense of control. Her mind becomes the detective, her pride becomes the prisoner. The woman who once believed she understood you now questions everything. She scrolls through old messages, studies your tone, rewinds memories like evidence in a case. Did I misread him? Was he always this distant? These questions are not just curiosity, they're confessions, because when a man goes silent with purpose, it forces her to see herself in the reflection of your absence. That quiet becomes a mirror, revealing how much she depended on your energy to feel seen. Here's the paradox. You don't have to move a muscle. Your silence does the work. It becomes a presence that lives rent-free in her thoughts, louder than any explanation you could give. Every unanswered question deepens the mystery, and the mystery becomes gravity. The more she wonders, the more she remembers. The more she remembers, the more she reconsiders what she once took for granted. And that's how curiosity transforms into realization, the first spark of regret that makes her wish she had paid more attention before you stopped. 4. The role of ego. Ego, that's where the real war begins. She built her sense of worth on the reflection she found in your attention. Every compliment, every pursuit, every time you showed up, it reinforced her belief that she had power over you. But when you pull away, when your energy no longer bends toward her, the mirror cracks. Suddenly, she's forced to face a truth she's never wanted to confront, that her confidence was built on your validation, not her own. When you were chasing, she felt desired. When you stopped, she felt exposed. Her ego hates that emptiness, so it fights back. It whispers, "He shouldn't be fine without you." And that whisper turns into action. A post meant to make you jealous, a story that screams indifference, a carefully crafted display of how happy she is without you. But none of it is real. It's a mask designed to protect the very pride that's breaking underneath. Here's the truth. The moment you react, she wins. Because reaction is recognition, and recognition feeds her ego. But when you remain calm, unmoved, quietly detached, you starve it. That's the discipline of a Stoic man. Control what's within, ignore what's beneath. Because silence in the face of provocation isn't weakness. It's dominance disguised as peace. And that peace is what she can't compete with. 5. The turning point. When she feels the void. Time has a way of revealing what words can't. Days turn into weeks, and what once felt like control begins to fade into quiet discomfort. At first, she convinced herself that your absence meant nothing, that she was fine, that she had already moved on. But denial doesn't last long against silence, because silence carries truth. And now, that truth begins to press against her like a weight she can't ignore. It's not just you she starts to miss. It's the energy you brought, the steadiness, the peace, the quiet confidence that anchored her without her realizing it. She begins to notice the contrast between what you offered and what's left behind. Every memory, every moment of calm you gave her now echoes louder in the emptiness. This is the moment when the void becomes real, when absence stops being space and starts becoming gravity. She feels the pull of what once was, and the realization hits. She didn't lose attention, she lost balance. Don't break the silence, let it speak for you, because in that emptiness your presence grows. And it's there, in the quiet, that she finally sees your value, not as noise in her life, but as the peace she'll struggle to find anywhere else. 6. Why silence amplifies your value. Most men chase closure, trying to explain their worth through words, but a Stoic man understands silence is closure. You've already said enough by stepping back. The absence of your voice speaks volumes, not in anger, but in certainty. It tells her that you've accepted what is, and that acceptance itself becomes power. When you stop explaining, you create distance, and distance reveals value. It forces her to see what your presence once concealed, the quiet strength in your restraint, the stability in your patience, the rare calm in your energy. Now, she recalls the man she once overlooked and realizes how much peace he carried without needing to prove it. Your kindness now feels irreplaceable, your patience almost sacred, your absence undeniable. That's the paradox of silence. The less you give, the more she feels. The quieter you become, the louder your value echoes in her memory. And without lifting a finger, you've transformed detachment into dominance. Not through pride or manipulation, but through presence and principle. Because the man who doesn't need to be understood commands more respect than the one who keeps trying to explain. And that's when she begins to wonder if letting you go was her greatest mistake. 7. The emotional tension builds. Emotional tension is invisible, but it's powerful. It starts quietly, when her phone stays still, when the night stretches too long, when memories begin to whisper back. She once felt certain of her control, but now uncertainty has taken its place. That unease grows heavier each day, turning into emotional gravity that keeps pulling her thoughts toward you no matter how hard she resists. Every song reminds her of a moment she dismissed. Every place feels a little emptier without your steadiness in it. She remembers the calm she once overlooked, the peace she thought was ordinary until it was gone. This tension isn't chaos, it's consequence. It's the echo of your silence doing its work. Stay composed. Don't break the stillness. Let it stretch. Because this tension is not your enemy. It's your confirmation. Proof that restraint leaves a deeper mark than reaction ever could. And that's where true power begins. 8. When curiosity turns into action. Curiosity always begins in silence, but it never stays there. Over time, it builds pressure, the kind that can't be ignored. She's been wondering, analyzing, trying to understand what shifted between you, and that tension finally demands release. That's when she reaches out. A like on an old post, a casual text, a subtle attempt to reopen a door she quietly closed herself. None of it is random. It's the outcome of endless thoughts she's too proud to confess. When it happens, don't rush. Don't mistake her message for surrender or sentiment. Stay calm, be kind, but never eager. Be grounded, not grasping. You don't need to prove your worth. Your silence already did. Every slow, deliberate response sends a signal stronger than words. You've changed. You're not the same man who once sought validation. You've become the man who values peace more than approval. That shift is magnetic, because for the first time, she's not chasing comfort. She's drawn to your composure. And that's the paradox she never expected to respect. The more control you have over yourself, the more she feels she's lost control of you. And that realization is where attraction quietly begins again. 9. Emotional control wins every time. True control is rare, and that's what makes it powerful. When she tests you, and she will, it's not just curiosity. It's a search for confirmation. She wants to know if you're still reactive, still emotionally tied, still under her influence. The test isn't about what she says, it's about what she wants to feel, proof that she still matters enough to shake you. But this is where strength is measured. Don't flinch, don't over-explain, don't justify what needs no defense. A calm tone speaks louder than any argument. A steady gaze says more than 1,000 apologies. Because real composure doesn't beg to be understood, it simply is. Emotional control isn't numbness, it's wisdom in motion. It's the quiet art of mastering yourself when everything around you tempts you to lose balance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. She is the outside event. You are the mind. And when you grasp that distinction, you stop chasing reactions and start radiating self-command. That's when everything shifts. When your peace becomes presence and your restraint becomes magnetic. Because no man is more unforgettable than the one who cannot be moved by anything but purpose. And in that steadiness, she realizes, control isn't what she takes from you, it's what you've learned to own. 10. The power of moving on gracefully. Moving on was never about revenge, it's about revelation. You're not escaping her, you're returning to yourself. Graceful detachment isn't an act of coldness, it's the purest form of dignity. It's the quiet realization that not everything lost was meant to be kept, and not every connection deserves to be carried into your future. What once demanded your energy no longer holds your power. You begin to rebuild in silence. You focus on growth, discipline, and purpose, the foundations that make a man unshakable. You stop chasing validation and start cultivating peace. And somewhere, without fanfare, she notices. The man who once sought her approval now moves with self-respect. And that truth stings deeper than rejection ever could. Because real strength isn't loud, it's still. It's the kind of peace that can't be manipulated, the kind that doesn't need to prove a point. You've outgrown the need to win. You've learned to let go with grace. And in that quiet departure, you become unforgettable, not through words or presence, but through the echo of composure that lingers long after you're gone. The silence you leave behind doesn't fade, it follows her, everywhere. Listen, brother, this isn't about playing games or proving points. It's about understanding balance. When you pulled back, it wasn't to punish her. It was to protect your peace. Every step of this journey has shown one truth. Silence is not weakness, it's mastery. You're not fighting her emotions. You're learning to master your own. From her confusion to her ego, from the void to her curiosity. Each stage reveals what happens when a man stops reacting and starts leading himself. You're no longer the man seeking validation. You've become the man who commands respect through calm. That's the evolution. The lesson is simple. Control what's within you. Release what isn't. Let silence speak when words only dilute your power. Because in the end, peace isn't found in chasing or convincing. It's found in walking away with clarity. And that's when she realizes the man she thought she lost was the one she never truly understood. If what you heard today spoke to you, ask yourself, have you seen these signs before? Have you felt that moment when silence shifted everything? Drop your thoughts or experiences in the comments, because every story shared adds strength to this brotherhood of men learning to rebuild from within. Like, subscribe, and stay with Stoic Silence. This journey isn't about chasing what's gone. It's about reclaiming who you were meant to become. The next chapter begins when you stop reacting and start evolving.